Okay, so as an agenda today, I'm first going to touch base on some of the challenges that Sears was facing to set the stage on why they needed to upgrade their code base. Then I'm going to talk a little bit deeper about the solution, which again is Amazon Q Developer for code transformation, and then talk a little bit about how the Sears team and the Amazon Q Developer team collaborated on this project to help both parties. Finally, I'm going to talk about the outcomes, so the statistics on what Sears was able to accomplish, and then finally end it off with the demo and some Q&A. So to touch on the background and challenges, I'm going to pass it off to Kevin, who can provide a little bit more context about this.
All right, thanks, Alex. I'm just speaking as an audience member here who's sharing some context on the project. So first, I want to give a shout out to the folks at Sears.com, Rajesh and Ramesh over here. They've been excellent thought partners and are always eager to improve. The outcomes so far have been a testament to their openness to collaborate and using as well as using AWS and ES mechanisms working in conjunction as well. So this really started from a critical incident that was escalated to have multiple teams involved. And as part of that, we have a continuous improvement mechanism to review and identify our recommendations. And we found that one of the bigger issues was due to a flawed deployment practice. So we had a DevOps review. And along that time, we've been collaborating with the support plan as well. And we identified those DevOps objectives in line with the support plan, and we dove deeper into one of the initiatives, which is the data center migration. And one of our objectives being modernization. So Rajesh and Ramesh identified upgrading code as a blocker to compatibility, and they're also marked as a security issue in their using their tooling. So we talked about Code Whisperer, code transformation as a potential solution here. We engaged a specialist, and we met weekly to help them block and collaborate and give feedback to further influence the product. So I'll let Alex speak more to the slide here.
Yeah, so as you can see, some of the goals were a JDK upgrade from Java 8 to Java 17. Um, and and as Kevin mentioned, this was due to a PCI audit, or partially due to a PCI audit where they needed to be in compliance. And so the total scope of the project was around 14 million lines of code over 311 applications. And so jumping into the solution a little bit more, again, being Q Developer Agent for code transformation, overall for the end user, the process is pretty simple. So you're going to start off with your source code, which is already going to be built and tested, in this case in Java 8, but this feature also supports Java 11. And as long as you're subscribed to Q Developer and you have the Amazon Q plugin installed in your IDE, you can initiate the code transformation project in just a few clicks. Now, once you initiate the code transformation project, Amazon Q is going to take your code and utilizing generative AI as well as AWS managed knowledge bases, it's going to propose changes to both outdated dependencies and deprecated code. The Q developer agent is also going to test those proposed changes to ensure that they're all accurate. And then it's going to provide you a summary, which is going to allow you to either accept or decline any of the changes it proposes. So overall, this process is going to allow you to keep your code up to date and allow you to protect against any security vulnerabilities, as well as benefit from performance optimizations that come with the new Java versions, again, in just a few clicks. And today we're primarily talking about Java 8 and Java 11 upgrades, but coming soon, Q will also be able to perform .NET Framework to cross-platform .NET upgrades, which is going to help you to port applications from Windows to Linux much easier than you can today. And then speaking to some of the feedback and collaboration that occurred between the Q developer service team and the Sears team. So as Kevin mentioned, we hosted weekly sessions where the Q developer team was able to listen to feedback on some of the partial transformations that the Sears team was experiencing. So specifically when Q developer wasn't able to transform all the project files that they requested. And this really allowed the Q developer team to iterate on product capabilities and accelerate future transformations. And then, of course, in turn, the Q developer team was able to keep the Sears team up to date on any upcoming product capabilities that were coming out, as well as other best practices when using the tool. And I'll hand it back over to Kevin to talk a little bit more about the instances where they're seeing these partial transformations.
For sure. I can't share everything in full detail here, but generally, again, I want to give a lot of credit to Rajesh, Ramesh, and team. They really dove deep here to manually resolve a few issues, some along with support, some with the help of chatbot as well. And Yeah, so basically these partial transformations were, due to failed builds, some of them because of missing POM entries, incompatible dependencies need to be reconciled, some missing code upgrades. But these were all worked with given back to the Q developer team to help us improve our product as well. So, but even with this manual work, Sears.com was still able to save a significant amount of time to do the transformations. And I think Alex is going to speak on this here in a few. So thanks, Alex.
Yeah, sure. So as Kevin alluded to, we have some great outcomes that the Cirrus team has accomplished so far. And again, this is still a work in progress, but so far the Cirrus team has been able to transform 363,000 lines of code over 8 applications. And perhaps the best statistic here is that this whole process saved a ton of engineering hours. So typically a transformation of this size would take around 6 to 8 weeks to complete, but the Cirrus team was able to do this in just 7 to 10 days. And just note that these 7 to 10 days were mainly due to a lot of manual intervention that had to take place, in part because of those partial transformations that we talked about. But as the product gets better and as the Cirrus team uses it more, we can expect even better time savings in the future.